Thanks again to Patrick Etheridge for sitting down with us. Now, in the second half of that interview airing next Friday, Jeff asks Mr. Etheridge about the Journal's new website rollout and his plans for the newspaper that's been bleeding talent and has struggled to connect with communities of colors, no doubt. Now, catch that next week on New Mexico in Focus. Now it's time to welcome in a special panel as we dive into the state of journalism. Our goal is to explore how local news can better serve all communities here in New Mexico with some help from you, our viewers, who asked to send in questions about the subject. And thank you for participating, by the way. But first, I want to introduce our panelists. I'm very happy to be joined virtually today by Algernon Damasa. He's editor at the Deming Headlight. Source New Mexico editor and sometimes panelist Sean Griswold. He's up in Denver today. Thank you, Sean. And Jessica Onsuras, news director for Gannett, covering the Carlsbad Current-Argus, Alamogordo Daily News, Ruidoso News, Las Cruces Sun News, and the Farmington Daily Times. Thanks to you all. Now, starting off, let's peel back the curtain here and talk about ownership in news organizations. Our panelists represent three distinct business models prevalent today: locally owned papers, corporate ownership, and nonprofit news. Our group today can speak to how those ownership structures influence their approach to covering the news. Now, beginning with Sean, I got a question for all three of you. How does a nonprofit like Source New Mexico keep the lights on?
Okay, it's a great question. One, we are funded by donors, including and as well as grant recipients. All of our donors for any donation over $50 is posted on our website. Now, States Newsroom is the national organization founded in North Carolina. It was called North Carolina Policy Watch, and it was a couple wonks who used to work in state government over there, looking at trying to adapt more and broader news coverage of the Capitol there. And that model has been now grown into nearly 40 newsrooms across the country. Source New Mexico opened in 2021. So States Newsroom offers a sort of like HQ element. You know, they are our HR, our payroll. They help the back end for our website. And so they take care of all of those elements from there. But after that, it's all hands off. Yeah. We run independently. We run, I operate and make our editorial decisions along with our staff members. We are responsible for hiring for freelancers and just the news of the day that we plan to do. And so our structure is based off of that. But as what keeps the lights going, it's donors and it's grant reporting.
Algernon, on your end of the world, how did the purchase of the Headlight from Gannett last year affect your paper's approach to covering your community? Did staffing philosophies change at all?
Well, it's interesting. It was a little bit like starting over. The Deming Headlight had been a property of large corporations and conglomerates for a couple of decades, and most recently with Gannett. And then it was purchased in November of last year by a local publisher, the Silver City Independent Publishing Company, which produces the Silver City Daily Press and the Silver City Independent. And so in some ways, it was really like starting over. I mean, what did we buy? We bought the name of the Deming Headlight, a few physical assets, and what subscribers were, still active with the paper. And the rest of it was starting over. I was brought back to be the editor. I had actually started at the Deming Headlight as a reporter some years ago. And so now I run the newsroom, and we have a reporting staff of 3, if you count me, since I'm also reporting.
Not bad there. Jessica, on your end of the world, how does corporate ownership impact the way your paper serves local readers?
It's an interesting question because I think we can all agree that when you are corporately owned, you have kind of a different set of priorities, right? You've got a corporation like Gannett who answers to its stockholders, whose primary job is to make sure that the newspaper is generating a revenue to pay those stockholders. But when you're looking at it from the perspective of newsroom, you still have staff that come in every day with the spirit of, we serve our community, we serve their interests, and we report on things that are important to them. But we definitely feel, I don't think anybody can deny it, we definitely feel the choices that are made up top by our corporate owners. Every day on the ground in the newsroom, everything from staff cuts to the clipping of the purse strings. When you lose staff, you certainly experience coverage gaps, and your readership feels that. And we have found that they've been very vocal about what they want from local newspapers and how our corporate owners are managing those papers within New Mexico.
Jessica, let me stay with you as we take a turn here. Let's take a quick look back actually to where we compare to 15, 20 years ago as an industry. Resources are much more limited. There isn't a reporter in every city or town council meeting across the state like it used to be. So the question we have is the same one many of our viewers wondered on Twitter. How has that changed how news organizations allocate what they have? And are those decisions always based off of what's best serving to their audience?
The direct answer to that is no. It's not always based on what's best for our audience. And I think if you ask a journalist, we're always going to want to direct those resources into reporters, into those resources for the newsroom, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't correlate with what's happening on the ground right now. I hear that from our audiences in every community that we serve every day. Can we get more reporters? Why aren't you at this meeting? Why aren't you at that meeting? Why is coverage 2 days late in a print edition? Well, those are all direct impacts from decisions being made up top that trickle down into our newsrooms. 10, 15 years ago, even when I started as a journalist, you were already seeing the effects of trimmed newsrooms. I walked into the Carlsbad Current-Argus as a green journalist, and there were 10 reporters, of half of which had 30 plus years of knowledge in that community. And in my first 3 years there, they retired or left, and out the door walked that institutional knowledge. So readers feel that, and I think that it's definitely hard for reporters, young reporters who are coming into newsrooms, and they don't have that mentorship, they don't have that experience, and we really struggle to bridge that in our reporting.
Hey, Algernon, I got a question for you, kind of a bigger picture thing here. As you know, public trust in journalism across the U.S. is tanking, though local news fares better than the big national brands, certainly in polling. But why is there such a disconnect there in your view?
There are a few reasons for that, and some of that can be attributed to shifts in journalism practices based on some of the ownership issues, the changing business models, or sometimes just confusion about the business models, but also coverage gaps contribute to that. One specific to the Deming headlight is that for a long time, the coverage gaps were pretty wide. And so the paper relied on partnerships with local organizations to send us some things, which gets the independent news reporting entangled with PR, with public relations and promotional interests. And so actually, I think some of the independence, going back to some of that independence, which is what we're now trying to do, taking that back in some ways enhances trust, because they're starting to see more independent fact-checking and probing journalism again. But at the same time, it also has kind of lost some trust with interests that came to rely on the PR aspect of the paper. And so we're trying to negotiate that relationship as transparently as we can to make it clear that we can be of assistance in getting information out about what's going on in our community, but we're also doing that independent piece of news factual gathering and investigation that the community really depends on and needs. And so the negotiation of trust there is very dynamic right now.
Interesting. Hey, Sean, here's a blunt question for you. For whom are we making journalism these days? The era of the paper of record and such is likely past, as is the notion that all stories are for all people. So how do we serve younger folks, communities of color, people who may be distrustful of what we do? What's the answer there in your view?
I mean, we're always looking for an answer and solution, but at the beginning, it starts with being present and showing up and actually listening to these voices and hearing from community people. One thing about our model is that we're a Creative Commons website. So all of our stories and photos are available to republish for free. In fact, we are republished pretty much in every major newspaper in New Mexico, all of the Gannett papers that Jessica works for, Deming Headlight, Albuquerque Journal, Santa Fe New Mexican, Gallup Independent. We're broadcast on many of the public radio stations in New Mexico as well too, Santa Fe Taos. So our news is reaching people in all kinds of different spaces. In fact, in part because our model is a free publish. You know, most newspapers have to pay for an Associated Press fee to republish Associated Press wire stories. or Gannett to pay to republish photos, and all of ours is available for free, which is part of the model of getting news to people that matters. So if you're going to be present in news and covering a community policy topic, one, you need to include community members. I think that's also where we start to notice a lack of distrust in news, is people weren't seeing themselves in stories. You're hearing from leadership, to Algernon's point, you're hearing from PR people that might be trying to give you spin, people that are paid to talk to you. So when we do with our state-focused government coverage, we really try to include as many community voices of people. And this is not just elected officials or advocates. These are people who are actually impacted by all of the policy decisions that happen in the Roundhouse and over in D.C.
Hey, Jessica, as more people question how the news is reported, the makeup of newsrooms has become a much clearer picture to consumers because they are predominantly male and white. Now, journalism is certainly not a lucrative career, and often these jobs go to those who can afford internships to live and don't need a whole lot of money. What can editors and publishers do to better diversify their newsrooms?
Well, I think transparency is the place to start, right? So Gannett, to its credit, has for a couple of years now published an annual report that says, here's the makeup of our local newsrooms and our national newsrooms, and made it public. So it's there, the information is there, and we're very aware of where those gaps are, especially on a local basis. But we are doing the best that we can, I think, across every newsroom in New Mexico to take a hard look at who is reporting the news. Are they representative of the communities that they serve? I'll give you an example. Across my newsrooms, for a majority of my time as editor, I was the only person of color and the only Spanish speaker, and we serve populations that are more than 50%, people of color and Hispanic
Now that's very
speakers.
telling. That's a very telling anecdote you just laid out there. And I can imagine you having to work in a newsroom with this kind of imbalance. It's difficult.
It is, and it's also a matter of culture, right? We started asking ourselves as we tackle daily reporting, are we including those voices that you wouldn't technically hear of in the past reporting? It's exactly as Sean said. We want to find those community members who are most impacted and make sure we're telling the stories that they have. But the other part of that is recruitment. We, for a long time, had a really huge gap in the pipeline between college graduates, especially those from New Mexico who knew the state, knew its history, knew its politics, into the newsrooms of New Mexico. But there are great programs in place, and I'm super proud to be part of some of those that get recent college graduates into local newsrooms, get them experience, connect them with networks already present, and build those skills. But then again, it's kind of a catch, right? Because now you've got these newsrooms that are really scarce on resources. They're all competing to get these grant monies and these fellows and these interns. So we're kind of right back where we almost started.
That's a brilliant lay of the land right there. I can't thank you enough for doing that. I think the two fellows will agree. We can let that stand in for what's happening in newsrooms right now. Thank you all for joining me today to have this conversation. We'll be watching your work closely. Now in about 50 minutes, I'll sit down with another group of journalists, this time from KUNM Radio, Searchlight New Mexico, and KOB TV. But once again to this panel, thank you all very, very much. We appreciate your insights.